This lesson on why it is important to learn how to dink. There is a humorous phrase that communicates the truth about dinking. Dink responsibly and don't get smashed. Dinks are shots hit from kitchen to kitchen after the ball has bounced. An approved pickleball will bounce lower than the net, and balls hit into your kitchen will force you to hit up on the ball to clear the net. If you hit up on the ball with too much pace, your shot will pop up or travel too far and give your opponent an opportunity to volley. The main strategy is to be the player hitting down on the ball and have your opponent be the player hitting up. A dink can be viewed as a drop shot. The starting point of a dink is placing your shot into your opponent's kitchen, forcing them to play the ball lower than the level of the net. Your opponents must hit the ball up to clear the net. You are standing at the no volley zone line, hoping that your opponent will hit you a nice, easy, high ball so you can hit an aggressive attacking volley. A well-placed dink forces you to hit a dink back, and this creates what is appropriately coined a dink war. This cat-and-mouse finesse duel is a fun and challenging part of the game. In a dink war, you have choices for your shots. Your first choice should be to play defensively. Your objective is to not make a mistake and keep the ball in play. Statistics support that the majority of points are won from a mistake. Let your opponents try a shot with more risk. Your returning dink should clear the net by a safe margin of 6 to 12 inches. You have achieved the first goal of keeping the ball in play. Your kitchen dink is forcing your opponent to hit up on the ball. Next, move your dinks around the kitchen with 3 or 4 basic target areas, wide towards both sidelines and down the middle. Each dink should be aimed to land inside the sideline and or the no volley zone line by a safe margin of a foot or more. The strategy is to outdink your opponents, and at the same time, try to get them to move. The word patience is used in these dink confrontations. The definitions of patience is rather funny because to one player it means hitting 2 or 3 dinks. To a highly skilled player it may mean hitting 20 to 30 dinks to win a point. A second choice is to hit a more offensive dink, which comes by placement and generally more pace. You can hit offensive dinks with both the topspin and underspin techniques. Both take lots of practice to perfect. You hit your dink to place the ball a little deeper and aim for your opponent's feet. An accurately placed shot will force your opponent into hitting a half volley or low volley. These shots require a better skill set to soften the return so the ball lands back in the kitchen. Less skilled players will pop these balls up. When you hit your dink aiming low to your opponent's feet, they will have to hit a low volley. Low volleys are too low to attack, and many players do not know how to hit a drop volley. The risk is hitting your shot too high, and some players, which are good, will hit an attacking topspin volley where they will roll their wrists and hit a fastball at you to break down your volley. Bear in mind, the majority of players are thinking of how to attack and end the point versus slow the ball down and extend the point. A third choice is to hit a dink with topspin. A primary time to hit this is when you have a slower and softer dink that's hit to you and you have developed a wrist roll to hit your shot cross court that will bounce in your opponent's kitchen and travel off the court. The danger is against a quick players that will be able to move laterally and hit a returning shot around the post called an ATP. This shot can be very effective against most players and especially seniors. A fourth choice is to attack your opponents by hitting the ball at them quickly. You disguise your shot like you're going to hit another dink, but then when you hit up on the ball, you turn it into an aggressive drive. The topspin dink and volley can be disguised as an underspin shot with an open paddle face and at the point of contact, you roll your wrist, which closes your paddle face and imparts the topspin. Most players hit this attacking ball with topspin because the spin causes the ball to curve back inside the baseline. Aim for their weaker side, which is generally their forehand, because most players hit the majority of their volleys with their backhand. The target area for an attacking drive dink should be your opponent's right shoulder. For the majority of players who hit all forehands, hit your drives at their backhand side. You, on the other hand, need to be very aware of your opponents attacking you. Just because you hit a dink in your opponent's kitchen does not guarantee that they will hit a dink back. It is very important to have your paddle up and be ready to hit a volley. Keep in mind, very few players are of the mindset to hit a lot of dinks because the majority of players are thinking of how to end the point and not extend the point. Since most instruction begins with the best players and filters down, the best players have longer dink rallies because their volleys are so good. Most beginner and intermediate players have slower reflexes and weaker volleys, so attacking them sooner is very common. A fifth choice is to hit a lob. Again, you must use the element of surprise. When you have established a dink, you can now look like you're going to just hit another dink, and at the point of contact, you open your paddle face and hit the ball up and over the backhand side, aiming for inside the baseline. The window for this lob would be like hitting the ball through a hula hoop target that would be about 9 feet in the air on the backhand side of your opponent. The backhand side is the best angle to hit because if you hit the ball too low, your opponent has to hit a high backhand and not an overhead smash.